Hello, Chris.
Hello, welcome back. We did one yesterday, didn't we? Because we had a recording yesterday. But yeah, live. Welcome back to the lives.
Well, we have our topic in front like this on a banner. We lose our names. Well, did you notice? I just noticed that now.
Well, I haven't got my name up there anyway. Oh right,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
override.
right. That's what I mean.
Well, I'm
so,
Chris.
so
You're Jesse.
today, and I'm Destin. So today, our topic is taking our namespace, AI, our view. If you don't know what AI stands for, it's artificial intelligence. I don't know how these two words can actually go together, but because
Artificial
to me,
intelligence.
intelligence is a very natural thing. It can't be artificial.
Well, then there's an artificial version of the natural thing.
The artificial version of the natural thing, which will never be as good as the natural thing, right?
Well, who knows?
Who knows? So
Maybe.
today we're talking about this. How is this um, artificial intelligence impacting our life? And as always, I did my own research. I went
Well, I
into
mean, first of
Google
all,
and I
first,
found and I decided to discover it. Yeah. So
I
sorry,
mean,
Chris.
first of all, I guess we need to uh, sort of explain the scope of what AI covers, because I mean, I think it can probably cover as many different combinations of different ideas that people can conjure up with. But for
This
this
is what
purpose,
my search actually helped me with.
yeah, I mean, and you know, like absolutely, and there's probably quite a lot of different versions. But AI is basically, you know, we are if you look at the internet as a massive computer. Okay, it's millions and millions of computers, but it's essentially, if in the terms of the way we access it, it's basically we tap into it through a connection, you know, our internet connection, and we are now in the machine of the internet, if you like. And this is millions of machines contributing. And if you take social media and web pages and everything else, we are basically the contributors to the overall mass of data that the internet is collecting. Yeah, so basically we are effectively a node of data that's basically submitting information uh, to this massive machine. And up until now, it's been a repository of data where people can go in and find what other people have contributed. And that might be a website, might be an offer, it might be products and services. It could be anything, could be, you know, information about wildlife. It could be just anything that people choose to put up there. And that's been the real power of the internet, is that it's given us the freedom to basically contribute, if we wish to this mass of data. Now, obviously, that comes with good and bad, because people contribute rubbish and people contribute things that aren't true. And we have to then filter all that nonsense out. If it is nonsense, it could be nonsense to us, but it could be real for others. We have to filter that out and decide what we want to consume. And essentially, that's what the internet has been. But now, if you take that one step further, the internet is, because there's all this data there, we're submitting it. We're obviously submitting our, through social media, our choices and what we consume. We're providing a data trail. So if we go to different places, some machine can interrogate where have people been to visit for the day. And if I've gone somewhere for the day, that information is going to be there. It might not be tied to me. They might not be tracking me personally, but in terms of volume of information, oh, 1 million people went there last year because 1 million people have said, I went there. And they put a picture up or they've done something. So basically, they know this machine, this data is recorded. Now, what artificial intelligence does is it's basically sampling this data and basically producing more data based on the existing data. So it's basically a way of being able to fish and filter and sift this data and provide useful information. So, for example, a very simple AI is right. Chris, today you've. Do you want to go to Aldi? What do you mean? Why? What on earth do you want to say that? Well, for the last 5 weeks, you've been to Aldi on a Wednesday. Do you want to go to Aldi today? No, I don't want to
Aldi
go to
has
Aldi.
an offer today. Go make sure you go again.
Well, it might not be that. It might be just that my regularity of going there on a Wednesday, the AI machine says, well, it's a fairly reasonable assumption. He'll want to go to Aldi again today. So I'm going to say to him, oh, you're going to go to Aldi? You're getting in your car. Are you off to Aldi? What are you talking about? Am I off to off to my friend's house? Well, you always go to Aldi. Do you want to go to Aldi? Do you want me to show you the map of Aldi? No, I know how to get there. but,
I used to have the same kind of thing with Google Maps telling me where my car was parked.
exactly. Well, that's a very simple AI because it's sampling the data relevant to me, putting it on my phone, and it's making assessments. Now, it might be that after a few times of me saying, no, bugger off, that's not what I want to do, it forgets to bother doing that anymore because obviously it's not getting it right, is it? So it's basically saying, okay, well, it's not interacting with that information, so let's just forget doing that next time. And the AI machine is capable of deducing things, providing suggestions and recommendations, reminding us of things. That's one example of it, just to give you a bit of how that data can be, and how many times have you said, oh, I'm just going to, like, I look at things, like, for example, I was sampling I looked at a piece of information about, what's the name of that man that I was looking at? I sent you the video. That video about different types of men, the types that are type of
Sigma
yeah.
man.
So I look at Sigma man, and now I'm getting loads of information about Sigma man, right? Because it said, oh, this guy's interested in Sigma man. I'm going to keep sending him things. You might be interested in reading these, and obviously they've got advertisements attached to them, so it's clickbait about things they know I'm interested in. So I'm likely to click on them.
Yeah, they're monetizing your interests.
Monetizing my choices. And and it's very, very simple. I bet if you go and look at mobile phones, it's just like a comparison site, you'll end up getting loads of stuff about that. It's just you could even. The funny thing is, you can even be talking about something with someone. They've got one of these Alexas on, and I know they say they don't do this, but how come suddenly you're talking about suitcases or something, and suddenly you get suitcases in your feed? Now, I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying when that happens once, I call it coincidence. When it happens 10 times, I say, hang on a minute.
There is something in this. Yeah.
There's something in this. Right. So just be aware, this AI is, and like, how powerful is this? Right. It's too powerful for people trying to make money to ignore.
Yeah.
It's too powerful. Right. They're not going to ignore it, are they? Because they can make money out of all of our data. And all we are, if you think about a big animal, all we are, like, a little suckers, like, sampling the sand to see whether the sand's any good, sampling the air, see if the air's any good, we're just sampling what's being put in front of us. And there is a big machine collecting all this data and trying to make sense of it. And AI is the access into that data on an automated process to return a result which can be monetized.
It's all about money. It's all
it's
about money.
It's going to have huge impact in other areas apart from money: surveillance, control, manipulation, right? Putting out
fake news, all sorts of propaganda,
getting a will of people to be shifted, altering election results. Banning things that, like, let's, for example, say anybody talking about revolution, right? Anybody talking about revolution on a blog post or anything, you're likely to have it banned. But because someone's going to sample data and say, right, revolution. Anybody talk about revolution? We
There is
want
this word, yeah.
this word. We want you to just check that word out. If this person's talking about a bomb or this or that or whatever,
I think they probably use that already.
yeah, they all have been used for decades.
Counter-terrorism is
Yeah,
probably well
but,
advanced in this
but if
respect.
this is just an advanced version that's automated, and basically, if they don't, like, for example, if someone said, right, okay, we want to eliminate Chris Ogle from the world, right? Right. Well, they just run an AI program that scotches anything that mentions me, that I say, that, but they just run an AI program that just keeps deleting stuff.
Or
And
there's
no one can
even
find.
there is even a way to make to CGI your image as if you say something that you never said.
Yeah, exactly. People can manipulate pictures and you can't tell the difference anymore.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because they're collecting all this facial recognition. So when you put your fingerprint into your phone or your facial iris recognition, do you think it stays there?
No.
Someone's gonna steal it, use it, misuse it, sell it. It's a foregone conclusion if you're
And
using
it's
a.
not for the reasons that you think, oh, they're going to steal my phone. No. They're using that facial recognition to teach the AI about face recognition.
Yeah, so when I think in China, they can take a picture of a crowd and they've got a camera which is capable of producing an image, which means that up to 5,000 people can be recognized through one photo.
Mm.
So if you're in a crowd of people thinking you're anonymous,
Yeah.
not really. Not unless you got a black bag over your head, holes in it, obviously, if you want to breathe. But
Or change yourself, like completely put some war masks,
yeah, but like
face paint.
then your friends can't recognise you either. So
So
anyway,
that's a good context. So if I put this back on our
yeah,
research, I went and Googled this. How is AI impacting our life? And it brought me maybe AI generated article, which I thought was quite a nice list. So I have 10 areas in our life where we are already benefiting of the use of or application of AI.
whether we're aware of it or not, it's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's some of these are quite like, what really? Is this AI
yeah.
working behind the scenes? So
Okay.
as you already mentioned, we start with the Face ID on your phone. That's the first one that they mentioned in this article. So we've got 10. This is number one, Face ID. And it opens your phone. But it's also, well, on a micro level, it opens your phone. How does the phone know that it's seeing a picture of your face? Because there is some kind of an algorithm that has taught it that this is a face and this is the right face.
Yeah, it's very. Let me just say, this facial recognition software is unbelievably complex because we have a part of our brain which recognizes faces, right? And it's a very big part of our brain because it's quite important to us that we recognize the faces that we're looking at, right? It's a big part of our brain. It's quite a big section. So to get a computer to be able to recognize it is really quite hard. Like if someone shines a light on the bottom of your face changes. You become quite scary, right? Like, how does a
Mhm.
computer recognize that? It's like it's changed your face, isn't it? So you're on the face is no
That's why
longer.
they do all these different programs, games, and age my face and whatnot, and you need to rate it. Or how well does this look? Or
Yeah, it's all
so
AI.
we've been teaching AI how to recognize our
Yeah, I
faces.
don't play any of those games. Can't.
I didn't want to see myself old. I'll see myself old when
No,
I'm
I'm
old.
old already. So it's
So that's the first one, Face ID. Then social media, you already mentioned that. So Facebook, Instagram, all of these places that we visit daily, and we tell them where we are and what we're doing, and we share our life with them, and we know who our friends are, and they know everything. They know exactly what time we scroll, how long we scroll, what do we look at, what do we spend a bit longer on.
yeah, they got
So
way more data
social
than you think
media,
they've got. It's insidious.
Social
Really.
media, number 2. Number 3, sending text or email and the spell check in the program, in the, say, in Google, in Gmail, when you're typing, it recognizes that you haven't spelled a word right. Or when you're typing a text, your phone knows that you haven't spelled it right, and even has the suggestion of what do you want to actually use. Are you sure you want to use the word what was I doing earlier? I was trying to type Jitsi, meet.jitsi.com, and it didn't let me do si Jitsi, that this part. It wanted to have something else. And I kept going back to fix it how I wanted it because it was constantly correcting me. Chris, are you there? Because you look like you're frozen.
I'm here, but
yeah, I can't hear it. So, well, when your connection gets back, you'll tell me what you meant about this. So this is number 3, sending text, email, and the spell check and autocorrect on a phone. Then number 4 is Google search. A Google search, like this one that returned this article to me, is another way of applying AI to, you type a word and then it comes up with suggestions. Another way to use AI. So how we're going for. Number 5 is the digital voice assistants. And we're talking here about the Siri on the phone or Alexas and all of these voice control devices. How do they know the words that you're saying and then produce the result, the outcome that you instructed them to do? So how many? That's 5. Number 6 is smart thermostats. You can control your home from your phone and turn the heating on or off. Then we have sat navs and driver assists in new cars. I've been going on through the list, Chris. Welcome
where
back.
we get there? Hang on.
So,
Hang on.
sat navs and driver assists in new cars. I had the chance to test drive the newer version of my old car. It was 2 years ago, and I was amazed at the amount of technology that was in this car, and it was actually helping you to stay within your lane. And if you started to go a little bit to veering off and maybe crossing even the lane marks, it will vibrate the steering wheel, and it will make sure that to alert you. Maybe it's good for some things like, if somebody dozes off on the wheel while driving, it will wake them up. But it kind of, in a way, before you learn how to use it properly, you get so distracted, and I don't know, it takes some learning.
What was the we did the social media? What was the next one after that?
Okay, so I'll go through all of them. So Face ID, social media, and then sending text and emails and the spell check that it provides.
Yeah.
And the autocorrect on a phone. So that's to do with text.
Yeah.
And we'll have another one with text in a minute.
Yeah.
Then it's Google search. You search and you want to find a certain type of
there's an
information.
interesting one. There's an interesting one on this Google search, which is why I wanted to go through the list, because there's obviously commentary that we can add to it. But like when you search for something, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but when you search for something, Google's not starting from scratch. It's starting from previous search results. And it's very similar to the fact that if you went to a library, if you can remember what a library is, and you went to a library and you took a book out, and then you really enjoyed the book, and you go back in and you say to the librarian, I really enjoyed this. Have you got anything similar? And the librarian says, yeah, sure. There's these other books that I've got like that. Right. When Google does a search, it's like that. The actual Google goes, right, okay, I know what they like because I've seen all their search things. So I'm going to give them something that's similar to something that they've had before. So it's actually quite insidious for the simple reason that you can end up being in a bit of an echo chamber, because you're never getting something that's contrary to your thought processes, to your thinking. You're not being open. Your mind's not being opened to other alternatives. But because before you really liked that book, you'd never read it. So how did you get to read that book for the first time? Now with Google search, it's not going to give you those options. So, for example, whether you like Brexit or you didn't like Brexit, the fact that on social media that you were replying to those people that had the same viewpoint as you only ever got shown stuff because you were interacting with those people from those people. You never got any contrary views.
Mm-hmm.
It's very dangerous because what it does is it divides populations. So with all of these things, these AIs, it can seem really great on the surface, but deep down it's doing something that is not what you want, probably. So you have to look at them and investigate them. And that, like your car example, you said, the wheel vibrates, you think your wheel's falling off. No, it's me telling you that you veered quite close to the central reservation or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to look at these things and judge whether you think for you they're applicable or not. Because the default is they're going to apply. You have to start taking them off if you don't want them. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It is dangerous because you're being used and you don't even know it.
It's taken advantage of, and you don't even know that you've been manipulated in
It's all
this
right
way.
if you know you're being manipulated or you're your day and you're quite happy with it. But look at the deeper meaning of what it means. Because actually there might be some things in there that you think, actually, hang on a minute, when I think about this again, I can see that.
Well, that's why people are preferring these days to go to different search engines, which don't have this notorious history of being quite what's the word, biased? Is it that the word?
Well,
and
it's biased to you,
kind
but
of create an experience for your own profile in a way, somehow
yeah, I mean,
biased.
you could go on and search for something, and I go on and search something, and we get completely different results. Why is that?
Well, it's the same on your phone. You search on your phone and then you search on your computer. It's completely different.
Yeah. So, and I notice it's the same in YouTube, I think. So the thing is, right, is that there is a feature on Chrome if you're using it called incognito mode, which says forget all my history, just give me reality as of today, and it will, or it's supposed to. I don't know whether it really does or not, but it certainly gives you different set of results to the other one, and it won't remember any of your passwords or any of that stuff because you're incognito mode. It doesn't know who you are. So it really is going back to basics, but it's quite useful if let's say you've written a website and you've been testing it, and then you type something in. Of course, you're going to get it, aren't you? Because it knows where you want to go. But for somebody else who's never been there, they might not get it.
Yeah. So that was that Google search, and then the next one is digital voice assistants, and we're talking here Siri, Alexa, and maybe there are others that I don't know about.
Yeah,
so how do they know that you're saying what you're saying, and how do they know that what you're saying means that they need to do this?
Yeah, I mean, this is like we were talking about facial recognition, weren't we, and shining a light and it being difficult. Like, voice is also not easy. It's a really you need powerful computers, which is why these phones keep getting updated and they keep getting, and all your old apps don't work on your old phone because the thing's moved on. And it's moved on for the very simple reason that these technologies require huge resources and huge amounts of memory in order to process them. That's why phones get out of date, because they keep introducing these new features because it benefits them. Not so much it benefits you. Facial, oh, that's great. It's only going to open when I look at it. Yeah, but guess what? They now know who you are, and they now know all this stuff about your iris and your eyes and stuff. And it's like, like, did I know? I didn't know I was giving all that away. Well, same with the fingerprints, same with virology.
And the thing is, we are all fussed about this GDPR and where our email was
completely
stored
irrelevant.
and our name was stored. That's like complete red herring. Because so what if my email is over there and my name is over there? I'm not that, but my iris is me. Well, it's part of me. And this is really where the scary thing is, because my real proper identification is being used all over the place with my consent, in a way, because I'm doing this.
I was just going to say
something. Without my consent, because I'm not being told about it.
Well, you acquiesced because you didn't know the long game.
Yeah.
You acquiesced because you didn't know the long. And it's like, How do people recognize who you are, right? Fingerprints, not completely foolproof, but it's a good one because about I think it's one in every 5 million people you get the same fingerprint. It's something like that. So it's 1 in a 5 million chance of being duplicated. It's big enough. Iris of your eye. I think that's pretty unique, right? So facial recognition and eye recognition is pretty important. The next one is your DNA. Right, that's the last.
And what happened with the samples of COVID testing?
DNA, right? And that's the final hurdle.
We don't want to go conspiracy theory here.
But
we're just gathering, putting the dots together.
But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is that that's then an absolute recognition of your ID. If you had your fingerprint, your eye, and your DNA, there's absolutely concrete 100% that's you, who you are. And if you marry that with your digital ID, right, it's 100% proof that they know that whatever is discussing with you knows who they're talking to. It's the link between the physical and the digital, absolutely, and that's and then
they have the voice as well, so the voice is in there as well.
Yeah, you can disguise voice, but what voice is really helpful when you're trying to, let's say you lose use of your arms, but you've still got your voice. You can get a computer to basically document what you're trying to say. That's there are other things going on, but that's not a bad one, is it? I can see how that's really useful. And I can see how a lot of people will find that useful. And also, like talking into the phone if you're driving and it's typing a message up for you, once it gets to know your voice, it can be pretty accurate.
Yeah, well, I was typing recently in Google Docs. There is a feature, there's a tool called speech to type. That was quite useful as well. Yeah, although it was a bit, still a little clumsy, but I'm certain they'll develop it further. So that's that. Number 5 was digital voice
in 5 years' time, you won't even question its ability to do that.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
Okay, carry on. Number 6, smart thermostats. Nests. And I have an example of your sister, Chris, where she was on holiday. And we would have to tell her, turn it up a little bit, turn it down a little bit. We were minding her dogs and keeping the house inhabited. And she was controlling the heating from Tenerife.
And I mean, that how that is able to work is because all devices in the houses these days, smart houses, have all got a little ID in them, which allows them to basically be recognized by communication strategies, which means they can present themselves onto the internet. And when they're presented onto the internet, you can engage with them via a mobile phone. Which means you can turn the cooker on, you can turn the heater on, you can turn the fridge off, you can turn the freezer on. You could get the house ready for when you come home. All of these things, and
lights on.
And that is because of the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things was a concept discussed early in the 2000s, which is basically everything has an RFID chip on it, which is very low energy. And it basically means, here I am, I'm a plate. Here I am a cup. Here I am a whatever, right? And what people can do as manufacturers is put these things on, and then they can track where they're going. So, for example, if in a Chinese manufacturing, they're making a 12-set piece of dinner service, and they package it all up, and they send it off to America for sale, they can track it. Every place it goes, they know where it is. And when it ends up in your house, okay, it's no longer required. There's no need to track it anymore. But it can then end up in a rubbish bin or a landfill, and they can track it for its whole life, from manufacture all the way to the end game. Right, and that is the Internet of Things. And once you've got that in place, everything on the planet can be managed.
And that connects me to what you mentioned earlier, putting a chip into a person like that. The Internet of Things. Are we things?
Well, according to some people, yes.
Maybe we're not going to go in that direction.
It's basically dehumanization at one point. Yeah.
So smart thermostats was number 6. Number 7 is sat navs and driver assist. That's quite
because
obvious.
the whole of the world is digitized as far as maps are concerned. So once you've got it digitized and you've got photos, because people are submitting photos, aren't they? So basically they can harvest all that stuff and they can produce, you can go somewhere and say, what does it look like there? Just as I recognize it when I arrive, and they got a picture of it. It's amazing.
Well, there was this Google, what was it?
Street
View.
Oh, Street View,
And
yeah.
I actually remember when they did that in the local streets here. I was walking on the pavement, and I was on the picture. I don't know whether they probably, since they've done it again, they might have taken that picture off and put a new one in. But there was this car driving around with this strange looking camera. And that was, we're talking 2007 when they were doing that. And then it became obvious why they were doing it, because it appeared we discovered it on Google, on the maps.
Oh, there's my car.
Oh, there's me. On this picture, I'm walking over here, and on this picture, I'm further up, because, I don't know. That's how it is. So that's number 7, sat navs and driver assist in new cars. Next one is banking. Verifying transactions. They don't have a person there verifying your transaction. Is a AI. And if the AI says, oh, this is looking dodgy, this money, where is this money coming from? I don't like this address. Where's this? What's going on with this money? They can trap it. They can track it and they can stop it.
Or if they see in a reference you said something that they don't like the look of, they can stop it. They can, and you don't have any say about it. If I was transferring from one of my bank accounts to another one of my bank accounts, and it was stopped. It was stopped because it broke one of their value transactions. And I don't know whether you've noticed this, but it says up to 1,000 you can transfer no problem same day, but over 1,000 or over a number, we might stop it. Or let me just retranslate that. We will stop it.
It gets stopped. That's it. Full stop.
Stopped. Yeah. And basically, if you're trying to transfer 5,000, forget it. It breaks the number. You've got, like in the old days, I used to remember. You used to have to bank things, and you had to know when you could bank it and how long it would take to clear. Right. These days, you have to know what numbers are limits for these banks, so that you can just, like, if you can't transfer 5,000, but you can transfer
49999.
2 lots to 4999. Then transfer 4999. It might look a bit awkward, but actually you're going to get it through and not going to be stopped. But then they'll release it to 299, and you got to know the new number. And it's all part of it's all part of just like managing things outside of your desires, because we're feeding these things, and it just is. It's endless. It is endless, but banking's really serious, because this is your money.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly it's not your money. Why is somebody telling me what I can do with my money? Well, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Another question for another day.
Then the next one, and this one I'm kind of I've had the experience with that. So this one is called Amazon reviews and recommendations. So every time somebody publishes a book on Amazon as a self-published KDP book, or an ebook, or any kind of, or if you're selling stuff on Amazon, there is this thing called the Amazon algorithm. Just like in Google, just like on Facebook, it's all algorithms, and Amazon has its own. And it's heavily biased on reviews. And, if a book has that many reviews, it's high up in the ranks, because people obviously like it. And they're telling other people that they like the experience. So on the surface, it looks great. Lots of people are saying that this book is great, but then there are so many books who haven't got a review, but they're amazing, and you wouldn't be able to find just because of that. And there are so many rubbish books that, because people know how the algorithm works, that they find a way, get their friends, mates, or create false accounts, or I don't know how they do it, and they put these reviews, and it's not really, the reviews are not, how do I explain this?
They're not commensurate with the quality of the book.
Yeah, the book is rubbish compared to this other book that has no reviews, but it's amazing. So we're still, again, depending on Amazon's
well, that's basically showing.
decisions.
That's basically showing that we've got there's too much data that humans can influence and change, and we can't absorb it all. Ultimately, it's the same problem as the old days. The old days, you'd write a book and no one would know about it, right? No one would know. No one would know you've written a book. Well, today you've written a book and no one knows you've written a book. It's the same end game.
Same thing.
It's the same end game. It's just technology created rather than the fact that there's no infrastructure to support anybody finding out about your book. Now you can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah. And again, it's like another search engine. So you type in Amazon what you're looking for, and it will give you suggestions.
Yeah.
So the AI has trolled all of this, made decisions according to your past history,
and reviews.
Of what you have used before, and it will tell you, and it will also give you suggestions. How do you know I will be benefiting from this and this product as well? Because they know. The algorithm, the AI has gathered that information.
Yeah, I mean,
and the last one on my list is Netflix. You wouldn't think about this, would you? But Netflix, as according to your profile, it will show you different suggestions of films that you might like. And then also further down, it tells you, because you watch this, here are some more suggestions that you might like.
That's similar. Yeah, I never get Bambi recommended or Pinocchio or anything because I don't watch films like that. But other people who've got kids, they're going to get Bambi and Pinocchio, aren't they?
So this is what Google gave me when I looked up how is AI impacting our life.
What did the AI give you?
So then I want to share with you guys my latest discovery. And funny enough, it came out from a Facebook post.
Well, basically, I'm connected to a guy who basically was writing a what do you call them? Where people vote. No, they vote. They vote for it. So basically, it was a poll, and he got the AI. He used AI to create the poll for him. And he said and he had a landing page, and people would land there and they'd get email addresses and all this kind of thing. And it all happened automatically. Basically, he just said, I want to do this, I want to do that. These are the things, blah, 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 blah. And the AI basically put it all together for him and created the landing page and everything else. And it was very, very, he said it's very easy to use, very simple, and he named it. And I then put it on there. I then mentioned you and said, oh, Daniel Priestley was the guy's name. And basically, this is a bit of a name check for him. Not that he'll need it, but then I sent it to you and I said, this might be useful for some of the things you're doing. And that's how you got to hear about it, was because I got told about it through my connection with him. Funnily enough, probably the AI algorithm of Facebook probably presented, I don't see all his posts, they presented that post to me because they knew I was interested in AI.
I can't seem to share this. Let's try again. It doesn't allow me to for some reason. Oh, right, maybe this way. Yeah. Is it coming up?
There you go.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to be using a writing help robot now. And you can see the different searches that I created.
So is it called Chat GPT? Is that the name of it?
It is called, let me show you, it's called chat.openai.com.
Okay.
I've got the link in the description.
Okay.
So let's see. Same question. How is AI, and I haven't done this before, so this is live. Let's see what the AI, the helping, writing helping robot will tell me about how is AI impacting our life. And let's see what it says. So, artificial intelligence is having a significant impact on many aspects of our daily lives. Here are some examples of how AI is being used and the potential benefits and challenges it presents. And we'll have a look at these in a short while when it finishes typing, because it's easier to go through the writing when it's finished. But what I noticed with this, as I was using it for the last week or so, is that it does really write like a human being, or speaks back to you as if a real human was interacting with you. So it's really, really good in this respect. And also, it gives you a really balanced argument for either. It doesn't keep sides. So how this works is I don't know, is a mystery to me.
Well, no,
But
it's
it
like,
does work really well with like communicating with another person.
well, let's look at it. Artificial intelligence is basically trying to simulate an intelligent human being, presumably, and basically it's got to get, it will be sampling a whole range of data, and that data will have pros and cons or different viewpoints of the same thing. So if you took an overall match of the, like we are going to look through here in a minute, basically it's giving you a balanced view, because what will be there is, if you look at standard deviation of the mean, you'll have extremes on both ends, and in the middle you'll have a good balanced view from two different sides, right? And it's using probably a very complex version of standard deviation of the mean to get a sample which is balanced and which includes probably between 70 and 80% of the responses that it's had to certain questions. And where do you think it's getting all these questions, these things from? From Facebook bloody quizzes and stuff like that, who are then selling the data on to people creating AI solutions. It's like the whole thing is connected and joined up. It's just that we breeze about in our lives thinking these tools like phones and stuff are really useful. They are, but there's another side of it. They're useful, so that's like 20% useful for us. So we're enjoying the 20% and thinking it's the holy grail. The other 80% is manipulation and data collection in order to subvert things to create an artificial universe that we don't even know exists.
One point I want to mention is, it seems to me, because this writing is so much like a human wrote it.
Yeah.
Although it follows through, sometimes you can see that there are patterns in the way the paragraphs are structured.
Right.
And they're repeated patterns. So for somebody who's trained to see to look at writing and to analyze text, in my eyes, I can notice these patterns.
Yeah.
But regardless of that,
Is
what
it
was I?
useful?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that this reminds me very much of the content I see on the internet all over the place. So the question comes logically, how much of the content that we think that somebody wrote, like a blog post, how much of all these blog posts that are everywhere on the internet are actually from somebody's brain, or have they been generated by a clever machine like this?
Huge amounts, right? And you
But
can tell.
because I'm telling you now, because I've actually started using it as a helping tool for my Instagram posts,
Yeah.
and I change things around. I have a little a keyword or a phrase, and then it comes up with a suggestion, and I use some of it, but I don't copy and paste as is. While it's still good to copy and paste as is. And if you think that something is not quite right with a blog post you're reading, it seems it reads quite machiney, so mechanical and robotical. It probably is.
Yeah,
But
you can set up a program, right? You can set up a program. What are the 10 topics that people are talking about these days?
And well,
And then
I can type in this as well.
yeah, right, and then inside each of that, okay, what are the key points about this topic, right? For each of those 10. Now, hang on, before let's talk about these points first. Right?
Yeah, okay.
And then what happens is you've now got the 10 things and the 10 blog reports. You just like, what are the 10 things people say about this topic, right? So, and then how many times have you seen on Facebook these things? They're advertising something, but it's not about what you. It's just clickbait.
Oh, they tell you the 10 ways to increase your traffic to your website.
Yeah, and you click on it,
and it's rubbish.
Yeah, and it's done by this, right? This
Yeah.
type of thing, and it's all automated. They don't even have to set and forget. You just like, well, do another 10 tomorrow because they'll be different. Another 10 the day after. Another 10. I do 100 blog posts in 1 week, and no one's involved. No one's written.
And I think this is where this AI is making humans
Dehumanizing them,
dehumanizing us and making us dumber and dumber, and we lose our creativity because
all
it's just the same thing, regurgitating the same old stuff.
We're playing in a smaller and smaller pond as people become more reliant on this kind of thing, and then they're only going to be dealing in the things they get presented with, not anything that they have to think about that goes outside the box.
Yeah, in a way enslaving us.
Exactly.
Without us even knowing.
Well, we're not here to talk about conspiracy theories, right?
No.
Okay.
We're talking about happiness, because if you're feeling like you're trapped, that will be it. So, what are these
healthcare?
AI
it's an important one. Like IBM came up with a thing called Dr. Watson, right? And Dr. Watson was able to tap into all the different medical stuff, right? The medical analysis, the pharma companies, the doctors' answers, results, and stuff, and all the different things that they've been reporting, not specific to an individual, but all the data that was being collected, and come up with recommendations and suggestions based on criteria and what people were suffering from, right? And it was very, very good. And then when it came up, we could come up with the solutions, and the solutions were obviously pharmaceutical drugs and stuff like that, right? But they weren't that, but it had all the medical records. It knew how they were responding. It knew what the issues were, and it had access to all the scientific data that had been collected and developed around the world. Is your doctor better qualified to give you an analysis of what drug should be presented, or is that robot? The answer is, if it's data-based, then Dr. Watson is significantly, because he's got access to all the information that's out there, even things like, well, if you're taking this drug, you shouldn't be taking this drug, or you shouldn't be taking this drug. What drugs are you actually taking at the moment? I'm taking these drugs. Okay, well, in our recommendation, you've taken all those drugs based on all the interactions between them. You should be taking this drug to solve this particular problem, and it won't impact the others. Doctors have got no way.
Doctors can't do that because it's too many bits of information.
They'd be spending all their time looking at reports and analysis, and no time seeing patients.
So there's probably an application in that, but also it's all with a caveat. So transportation is the second one. Self-driving cars. Well, we didn't mention those, but I have heard about self-driving tractors and combine harvesters. My dad was talking about this when we went to Bulgaria last, when was it, October, November. And well,
education, like you're using it because it's educating you. You're finding out, give me 10, give me reasons why this, and it's giving you things that you might not have thought of.
Yeah, actually, I did search Sophocles, the Greek playwright, and in this search here, you can see I had it before. I also searched Socrates because I wasn't quite sure who they were. Well, I know about them, but I'd forgotten. So it gave me a good description of who these people were. So we can help you with education, no problem. Help teachers and educators assess student progress. I'm not sure about this, but anyway.
Well, they're looking through this, and more than what. Well, I tell you for sure, it's definitely going to be used. What are they driving people towards now? Staying at home because of lockdowns and different, and therefore kids are doing all their stuff online.
Quizzes and
Right, and if
tests.
they're doing it online, then the education AI is going to be perfect, isn't it? Because it's going to be measuring them all individually, and it's going to be able to give individual results. The thing is, it
Well, if
knows.
they're using this kind of tool, then I don't know what they're assessing. They're going to be assessing the tool.
Well, no, they're going to be assessing the responses, looking for keywords, looking where the kids are, their construction of their set. They're going to look at everything, and AI is going to be able to do that. I mean, we mentioned these things in brief, but we didn't mention these. These are things that are totally, you can see the benefit to the human being. Finance, AI is better making investments.
Finance, we
Okay,
mentioned
that's fine.
that.
Customer service, yeah, if you go in, you got a problem, yeah, they can better diagnose what the issue is. Absolutely get all that. Manufacturing, okay, it can be used to improve the efficiency because it can basically say the process you're using is inaccurate or inappropriate, because we've done, there's loads of research which says if you're trying to combine this or you're trying to combine that, the better way of doing it is this, so you might want to adjust your process to improve your efficiency. I understand that. Brilliant. All these things, everybody can understand the benefit, right? What they didn't talk about here and what isn't profit are the things we discussed in the things that we came up with. Why? Because they're basically they're not inert. They require discussion.
So, and the good thing about this robot, this chat place, is that it remembers what the topic is. It remembers what you said before. So I can say, give me 3 more benefits. And it gave me environmental sustainability, reducing waste, improved public safety, enslaving, surveillance cameras, safety. Okay.
What did you say? Enslaving? I
I,
don't think.
I said enslaving, but because it's a
I can tell
surveillance
you.
camera.
But the interesting point about that is, right, is there's no negatives here.
Not in here. Enhance quality of life. Look, it's even
Yeah.
enhancing our lives.
Well, but we've had conversation about AI, and
What
actually, it's much
are
more.
the cons of AI? Let's see if people know anything about the side effects. There are several potential challenges. Job displacement, bias and
Bias and
discrimination. There you
discrimination. Yeah.
go. Privacy
Yeah.
concerns, security risks. Yeah. Ethical concerns. So it didn't tell us that before, well, but I had to ask about the drawbacks.
Yeah, but the good thing is it has come up with these. Now, obviously, humans can expand on these things. We could go on for 5 more hours about
Yeah.
AI and how it can impact society and everything else. And I think one of the things is it's giving people open their minds to the potential of what's possible. Because actually, when AI was being developed, people were saying, "Well, what on earth can we use all this for?" It's only because we've got the data, and we've got the collection of data mechanisms, and we've got the speed of the processors, and we've got everything that's sitting in this internet these days. It's only because of all of this coming together at the same time that we can do all this stuff. But the biggest concern is who's in charge of this data, and are they doing things which actually regular ordinary folk wouldn't want them to be doing? And the answer is, in individual isolated cases, I've got a list here, each of those individually is of benefit to the human race, right? It's benefit to individual people, right? But when you add it all up, it amounts to a digitized world where everybody is a number. And if somebody doesn't want you to be doing something, you can be stopped from doing it instantly, because they can freeze your bank accounts, they can stop you going anywhere, they can stop you buying tickets, they can stop you doing this, they can stop you doing that. And in fact, they can basically turn your life into being a hermit where the only real existence you've got is living on a mountain on your own. Like these things are all in progress, and the manipulation and the corruption is rife.
And just to finish off with a fun question, what you mentioned earlier, what are the 5 most common questions? What are the 5 most common questions people ask in December 2022? Let's see what AI comes up with, shall we? That will be
Let's
our
do it.
last. That will be our last thing we talk about.
Oh, hang on. People might ask in December.
So look, it's very honest. As a language model, I don't have access to current events or information about what people are currently asking. However, I can provide some examples of common questions that people might ask in December. It's because I was saying December 2022.
Okay, so you could improve your question, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good one as well. The quality of the answers you get is as good as the quality of your questions. Here's an example of that.
Yeah, so what it knows there's a holiday. People are going to be booking their holidays. January is a massive holiday
gift
booking season.
Ideas, winter
How can you
weather,
because it's cold. What? Oh, it's
recipes.
yeah,
Winter
because they're going to be
season.
cooking.
Staying healthy because it's cold, obviously.
Yeah, no
and
heating.
Travel destination.
Yeah,
these are just examples.
Yeah, so like it's based on the fact that there are generally things that people do during this type of the year which relate to getting away, cooking for lots of people.
Yeah, so this particular writing help robot seems to be disconnected from propaganda and current events because it's just a language model. So I really like how it gives you this balanced argument for things, and
yeah, I mean it's right.
I like it.
Let me just say something. It's divorced from propaganda and being manipulated
from policies of whatever kind.
But the data that is collecting is the result of manipulation. So it's a deeper level of manipulation, gone down one level because it's not. So it can get away with it because of what you said. It's not gonna. It's gonna be honest, and it's gonna say I'm a language model. What does that mean? I don't actually know what that means.
It's just a robot that knows about language construction.
That's an assumption.
Well, do you mean that they have given it an instruction not to talk about current events? Oh, let's say what are
the major
current?
It'll probably say I don't know, but
the
top current events.
The top current events. Now, yeah, language model. It doesn't know about now.
That's a fail-safe say, but I can possibly provide. Look at this.
My knowledge is based on text that was available to me at the time of my training, which was cut off in 2021. I can provide general information and answer questions about a wide range of topics. So we need to ask about something before 2021. What happened in 2020? Year marked by several significant events, including the ongoing COVID. Also, it knows that it's ongoing.
Yeah. Well, it probably wasn't terminated in its training time.
And it gives you all these things. Right. It keeps typing.
So anyway, that was an example of
So it looks like this when you first log in and you create your account, and it remembers your chats, but you can also delete them like this, change the name, and then bin it. Did I show what it was? Why is it not? Well, new chat. There we go. So it gives you what it's capable of, examples, capabilities, and limitations. Oh, there you go. It says limited knowledge of the world and events after 2021. May occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. So far, I haven't seen anything like this, but because it's free, it's still in the process of training itself and learning about being a language model.
This is just a forerunner for things that we might have seen on things like Star Trek when you say, "Computer, can you just tell me?" and it's got this database of information and it's coming up with stuff, and they just take it as gospel. It's like the computer says, well, it must be true then. Like it's
computer
we're
says,
falling into
computer
that.
Says no. Computer says yes. Right. On that note, there we go. This was our view on.
Well, just go
Let me
back, close that
stop
window, and we can
sharing.
close
Stop
that window.
sharing.
There we go. And
Get this down. Make ourselves bigger, and
move
so
the banner.
our own research. I should have put this first. How is AI impacting our lives? We asked the AI. We just did. So
Well, yeah, but look, that's nearly an hour now, but I hope you found that useful because for me,
that was
it's
our view.
interesting. Yeah. So,
Thank you for watching.
yeah,
And oh, look, I've got another banner here. Please subscribe.
yeah. I mean, hopefully these are informative chats, and it opens up the opportunity to speak about it with other people, and you know, and opens your mind to other things to talk about. I find them really useful. This type of conversation is because this AI is bringing everything together. It really is bringing everything together. All the technology advances, all the software growth, the current world events, everything is being brought together. And it's not all good news, unfortunately. But there you go. We live in these challenging times.
Right. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye. Bye now.